TrekWars, Duels Across the Stars, Episode 37, Solo. Top 5 solo moments.
The lone smuggler Olympus has landed on the distant sands of the dune sea of Tatooine, searching for the wreckage of a mysterious ship. The ship is rumored to contain the knowledge of 1,000 species and artifacts that the Star Wars universe has never seen before, and the Borg Ben of One, now free of the collective. As these two unlikely heroes cross paths, they must navigate their way through the wreckage to find the top 5 solo moments from Star Wars.
And also Star Trek. So,
Possibly.
definitely. Anyway, hello, I'm Ben. My co host today is, as always,
Olympus, as always, yes, good to be here. Good to be here. Looking forward to see what we are going to be delving into on this episode. I went in one direction and then changed my mind and went in a different direction entirely before I saw your draft of the crawl, and then went, oh, you've foreseen something there, and then you've just said that, so you've got me like jumping back and forth here, wondering what to expect. So this is going to be good fun.
Oh,
This is going to be good fun.
okay. In that case, what were you thinking of when I suggested this topic of solo moments?
So the first thing that came to my mind was, rather naively, by the way, was moments in Star Trek or Star Wars that involved an individual character, a solo, like a monologue, or a scene where it's just the one character or something like that. And then, so I started down that route, and then last week at one point I sort of stopped and went, hang on a minute, Solo, a Star Wars story, you son of a gun. Yeah, so you know what? I'm actually going to change tact here. And I'm going to, here's an opportunity to plug in my rules. I'm going to use the rule that I am only going to explore moments from Solo, a Star Wars story.
Wow. You mentioned the film earlier, and it was just like off camera, and it was just like, oh, it's just like something in my head went, oh, okay. Why did we really happen to mention that one? But that's fine. It's nothing major, just because maybe I mentioned the title earlier. But
Well, there was that, and also when I saw your crawl draft going through it, and I read it through, and obviously at the end it just says Star Wars. It's the first crawl we've done that just says Star Wars, and I'm sat there going, Ben's thought the same thing I have. This is a Star Wars only one. But then you've just come out with that as we came off of the intro, and I thought, nah, there you go. That's actually been a typo, and I've not
it is a
flagged
typo
it.
by me.
I've not flagged it
It's a
because
typo by me.
I just totally clicked and thought, oh, we're doing Solo. So there you go. This is going to be very interesting, a very interesting episode. And as you all know, my top 5 are all from Solo, a Star Wars story. So Star Wars are currently up 5-0.
Let's see if I can make that any different.
Yes, absolutely.
So,
To be fair, Star Wars have not been getting a lot of love from us the last few episodes, so it's about time they had got a bit of an upper hand, a handicap, let's call it.
yeah. To be honest, when I thought of this round, this topic, it was just like, oh, it's a good play on Han Solo's surname, Ben Solo's surname as well, and it also can apply for singular moments, somebody by themselves, etc., like you were saying first. I thought it would be a good matchup of both that we could bring it both in, and I've sort of done it in the way that it's mostly going to be individual people by themselves doing something by themselves. Slight exceptions to that, but I also did go for one of Han Solo's moments during this. So I had to go down that route for a bit. So
Absolutely. Couldn't have it titled Solo and not have a solo moment.
I definitely agree. So In that case, I tell you what, I want to go first because I think my one sets off our crawl perfectly for the rest of the uh, crawl. So
Okay.
think of yourself in a giant sandpit. Um, you're there going, "Oh, I just can't get out of my current environment, and I want to go and explore the galaxy. Go to college, get trained, and it's like your house is closing up for the evening, and you just go up the stairs to the front door, and with the music playing, and just look at the twin suns uh, over the planet, and decide what your hopes and dreams are for the future. So for my one, it is Luke Skywalker under the binary stars, binary sunset there on Tatooine. So like I think it's just after getting the droids, if I remember correctly, and it's just like just a sweet music and a sweet moment with all the music, and it's just like we've all probably been there, going, we need to get, we need to hit this, we need to go somewhere, and what shall we do as the future? What shall we do as our lives?
Very
So
reflective,
that's my
isn't it?
yeah.
That scene. And it's nice. It starts off Luke's character in a very nice way before he starts to get into the, I guess, the nitty gritty of Star Wars, which is the whole Jedi religion.
Yes, it definitely is. So yeah, that's my number five thing. I think it just adds that moment for the of reflection for the over the story and stories. So not much else to say. So that's my number five pick.
Oh, very nice, very nice. And I guess on to my number five pick then, the first of five confirmed solo Star Wars story picks. And I'm going to say Han shoots first. I'm referring to the scene, which I always find quite reminiscent of the whole scene between him and Greedo in the original trilogy. But it's between Han and Beckett, who by this point, towards the end of the movie, has double crossed Han, double crossed Crimson Dawn, double crossed probably everyone he could, and he's left with very much nothing to lose. So they're having a bit of a standoff. And when you bear in mind as well that Beckett is a sort of a sharpshooter of sorts, so you're already thinking Han's maybe a little bit outgunned. And I think Han Solo knows that, and that informs his decision to basically shoot Beckett mid sentence. Um, and yeah, it's kind of a brutal end, I guess, for Beckett, who openly admits it was the right thing for him to do, but it also helps develop Han's character and show us how he's turning into more of a hardened outlaw now compared to where he was at the
Mm.
start of the movie. So it sort of completes that cycle of his character development in the lead up to, again, the original trilogy version of Han Solo. Let me know. Um, and yeah, that's
Yeah,
about
it
all I've
was
got to say on that.
definitely a very good scene, and it does explain that them playing around with the hand shot first, solo shot first scene, and yeah, it's yeah definitely is Solo's there trying to wrap the story, not wrap the story, get the early story of Han Solo out there, ready for I was about to say ready for Rogue One, ready for A New Hope, just like Rogue One does. Um, no, and I think it does a reasonably good job. I'm not going to say it's not going to be. It's a good story in my opinion, and the scenes like that with Beckett add to that. But it's not. It's not a classic, but it's definitely a nice story to add to the Star Wars universe.
The thing about Solo for me, again, it does add nicely to the overall Star Wars arc. It's probably my least favourite Star Wars movie out of all of them.
Fair enough.
Um,
No,
which made picking a top five out of this movie very interesting. to say the least.
Yeah.
Especially considering I couldn't bring myself to watch it again. So I've done a lot of this from
Oh.
memory.
No, fair enough. And yeah, I I would say, where was it in my ranking? To be honest,
It probably wasn't even
well,
on
at
there.
some point, yeah, no, it's probably about halfway. Probably lower half, probably. But my my picks. But then again, that's because I love the other one so much, uh,
Exactly.
for no other reason.
I mean, if
And
you...
anyway,
So sorry,
go on.
I'm going to keep us on this digression a minute, but if you consider as well the caliber in movie between Solo and Rogue One, when you consider they were both, keep me honest, but that they were made relatively close to each other.
Yeah, I think 2 years apart, because I think they were doing the trilogy every other one, and then putting those type of
Yeah,
movies in the middle.
yeah. Rogue One is stellar in comparison to Solo. And that's with them, as I say, being so closely filmed together as well. I much prefer Rogue One. But anyway, what's your number 4?
Anyway, my number 4 is very much related to this. Solo shoots first. So I'm going for that Greedo scene where I know there's two people in the scene, but it is a Han Solo in the scene. So yeah, that talk about with Greedo going, oh, Jabba wants the money, I'll give him to the money and a little bit extra, and it's like, oh, nah, too late, no, you're not having me on this one, and they get into a bit of a tete-a-tete and end up shooting each other, or trying to anyway, and it's helping set up the film and the characters, and this one that it's like Han Solo's doing this for the money to try to get some money from this princess, and he knows he's in debt. He knows he needs that money to do this, and he's prepared to take random passages, no questions asked, and avoiding imperial trouble. So it it adds nicely to the build up of that story and Star Wars, to be honest. So, and the scene also gets oh, the combination of scenes in that cantina there is it's basically its own little movie. So from the castle run to learning to shoot first to getting another job on uh, with these guys on Tatooine or this out on Tatooine. So it's yeah, it is a nice. To be honest, I think that sums up Han Solo as that scene. To be honest,
Yeah, very
so
much so. And you get to visit that, or you're able to visit that specific bar and that specific seat in Star Wars Outlaw as well.
I believe so. Yeah, yeah. So I didn't realize you could actually get the specific seat as well.
You can't
So,
sit down in it, but you can definitely stand there. You can see the marks from the blasters on the walls.
oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's
brilliant. No, because I yeah, and I know because that's set between episode 5 and 6, isn't it? And you can
yeah,
actually visit Han Solo and Carbonite in Jabba's palace. I think in one of the
that's
uh,
right.
scenes. I think.
You sure can.
Anyway, that's my number 4 pick. You got any more thoughts on Solo shooting
No,
first?
no, I don't. So I'll move on to my number 4, which is again Solo Star Wars story, the Droid Revolt, which I found was a particularly funny moment in the movie. You've got L337 essentially instigating this revolt of droids by mistake, pretty much, and then becoming a sort of revolutionary leader for these droids as well. It was just all very, very humorous. It was done. It had a brilliant balance of humor and seriousness throughout the sequence, and a little bit of tragedy as well, because per L3 doesn't survive. And then there's this bittersweet, obviously, element to it because they're able to integrate her. Could you call it a soul or a consciousness? I'm not sure how you'd describe that from a droid perspective.
Personality.
But yeah, personality. You can they take her personality and load it into the Millennium Falcon, which I think was a lovely little nod as well. But I like that
There's
bit
something
because it's
C3.
Sorry, Ben.
I was about to say to something C3PO. I think says to the Millennium Falcon / everybody else outside. It's like how rude or something like that during A New Hope because of when he was trying to either give information or get information from the Falcon interface was the Falcon.
I think you're right. Now that you mention it. So yeah, it's why it's on my top 5 is because of that balance of humor. It was one of the funnier parts of the movie. I thought that I quite engaged with and quite enjoyed. So that's my number 4.
Yeah, actually, the revolt was very fun. Actually, that was nice to have the revolt. Not my. Anyway, so no positive thoughts. Positive thoughts.
That's the thing. That's the thing, right? Because I've decided to do a top 5 on my least favorite Star Wars movie. Okay, so we're prefacing this. This is a movie that I did not really enjoy watching, but I thought it would be fun to do a top 5 based off of that, just based off the title and everything. So let's go with it.
I'm glad you are.
These are my top 5 favorite scenes in my least favorite movie. I don't know how else to describe that.
Why not? So, nah, I like the sound of that. And to be honest, we are at the moment going 4-0 for Star Wars, or if we keep yours in it, 5, 6, 7-0. So
yeah, 7-0.
Yeah. And to be honest, this doesn't really help the cause for Star Trek at the moment. Where I'm going to go to another polarizing film for I know some of the fan base, but one of my favorite films up there is from The Last Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I had a short list of about 3 or 4 moments from this film, but I decided to have it where Luke goes out by himself, where he's alone on his little island, and beam himself. I'm saying beam him, making his force constants over to is it Crate? No, it's not Crate, but the planet that they are on, where they're hiding in the cave, and he goes out to confront Solo, and Solo, and his forces of evil. If you want to go down the lines of a certain Tom Paris holodeck program, and confronts everybody alone. He gets fired on by God knows how many AT-ATs and other vehicles. He gets and survives, and it's just like, so yeah. He said, "I can go. Something's definitely off," because you saw him come back and he was looking different than he was, and I just went, "Oh, he just smartened up because he's had that moment to come and help, so he's just smartened himself up."
He's just gone away with a razor, some hair dye.
Nice. Yeah, precisely. And it was just like, yeah, because it was very obvious that he, even to me, that it's like, yeah, he's changed, and it was just like, okay, what's going on here? Has he had some sort of protection for himself? Yeah, and then it's like he has this fantastic fight with Kylo Ren where he's bending everywhere. Not bad for an old man, to be honest. And you find out he's forcing himself over to the fight, and
like a force projection.
Force projection. Thank you very much. I could not get that right. And to be honest, I really enjoyed it, and it helped give everybody hope again, which is what his sister would say.
And that was the whole point of that movie. It was to take them to the brink of having no hope and then give them that hope back.
I completely agree, and yeah, give them a chance to escape after, get him to that, get him to that low where he was, and he needed the hope himself to get himself back where he's, combining that. So that's my number three pick. So
Lovely.
Luke's fighter against the Solo in the Last Jedi.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. Which takes me to my number three pick, which is that first beloved meeting between Han Solo and Chewbacca. So Han is betrayed by Beckett and another character called Val. They were they were in the Imperial Navy, I think, if I remember right at this point. Not for very long though, and Han discovers that Beckett and Val are basically running some type of con, so they give him up and tell his commander that he's going to desert. So he gets thrown into a pit, and there's another throwback. This time I'd say that's more of a throwback to the Rancor pit maybe, or the Sarlacc pit, depending on if you're looking at well, actually both of those are Return of the Jedi when I think about it. So sort of reminiscent of that, but instead of a big nasty monster waiting there to gobble them up, it's Chewie, and they quickly
a big cuddly monster.
exactly a big cuddly one, and they quickly sort of build a bit of a rapport, and work out a way to escape together, and from then on, best of buds. The reason that's my number three is just because it's the meeting of two iconic Star Wars characters, and I think it was delivered very nicely. But I couldn't have a top five about this movie and not have that in there.
Oh, definitely. That definitely has to be there, and it was a nice seeing them. Also trying to have a shower as well. Or was that slightly after? Yeah, that was after.
Yes,
But
it was
on another
after.
scene when they escaped. But yeah, I've got in my head. It's like, which is not probably a very good image in my head now. Which is, but hey ho, change the subject.
All good, all good. What's your number two?
Do so. It's not going to be a clean sweep.
Oh, and we were so close to one.
We are going to your favourite Star Trek series.
TNG.
And yeah, we have got Data trying to sort out an issue on a planet. The Enterprise has been sent to get a lot of colonists off the planet because a species called the Celiac are going to basically want to colonize that planet, and because of their rights to this planet and in all their law books, this is theirs. And they also think humans are a lesser species, and probably the other species that hang around with them. And it's like, because of this law that they have, they are being nice, and they will get you have X amount of time to get these people off, which is basically not enough time. But that's not the point. That's not what Data's trying to sort out. It comes down, and they do not want to leave the colonists, and it's like, we will fight them. We will fight them on the beaches. We will find them. Sorry, wrong speech. They decide it was like, we'll fight them, and it's like Data doesn't know what to do because he can't persuade them. He knows they will lose, and it's just like, I think he's had a conversation with probably Captain Picard, and he just says, "Find a way." Doesn't matter, find a way, and he does. He goes around, stuns a few people by himself, shoots one of their bits of infrastructure, which buggers it up, and it's like, this is what I've done by myself. These guys here will do a damn lot more, and they will do it from orbit. You will not know what's happened. You won't be able to face them. I've made my point. It's basically you die or you can come with us. It's that's as simple as that. And it was Data basically improvising and going beyond his programming slash the written book.
Oh yeah.
So that's my number two book. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Um, um, yes, it's an episode that I remember very well. If I remember correctly, I think, and this is off topic from the data side of it, which is, as always, done beautifully by Brent Spiner. But I believe Picard has a really good solo moment in this as well when he manages to
Yes.
uncover the loophole in
Yeah.
in the contract with the Shellyak, which, if I remember right, ends up allowing them to have the necessary amount of time needed to properly evacuate the planet.
Yeah.
So I quite like that. I
It was
quite
so.
like that solo moment in there as well.
Yeah. So I can't remember uh the finite details, but he asked for immediate arbitrary arbitration. I can't even say it, arbitration. No, you hopefully you get what I mean. From a species that currently in hibernation, which means like 6 months time, we can we can sort this out.
Yeah, you can wait
So
6 months, or you know what? If you let us come now and just take a few weeks to get them away, then you can have it. And the Shellyak are like, oh, okay.
you have to, yeah. Two good moments from Data and Picard there.
Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely, absolutely. But
so what's
the Data one's a more poignant one though. It helps develop his character, and as you
yeah,
say,
and
he's
that
thinking beyond his programming to get to that point.
yeah, I'm not going to say it's an outer character moment, but it is not far off an outer character moment with this. So it whereas Picard that's Picard being Picard.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Data
This is Data
doing what he needs
evolving.
to do. Yeah. So anyway, what is your number two pick?
Maul.
Oh,
So, for anyone who has not watched Clone Wars,
spoilers!
Ben,
Oh,
um,
sorry, you talking to here?
um, Maul does play a key part in the later seasons of Clone Wars. He does return.
Yeah,
He did survive that encounter with Obi-Wan Kenobi back in the Phantom Menace. And then in Rebels, we get to see a bit of Maul again, in particular leading up to his final battle with now Ben Kenobi. And there, it's probably the one part of the movie Solo that I was like, ooh, exciting. What are they going to do with this? This is going to be so good. And then they flipping did nothing with it, and it really
I
peed
mean,
me
which
off.
is
Right?
yeah, I
That
agree.
that annoyed me. But you know what? The fact that they brought him back in live action, um, as per the Clone Wars, I was very, very happy with that. Um, I think they do reveal him at that point as the leader of Crimson Dawn. I can't 100%
Yeah,
remember, but I'm pretty sure they reveal him as that, which he is at that point in time. And they've managed to tie that timeline up very nicely so that it fits perfectly sort of between the Clone Wars and Rebels as well. There's still plenty of years left before his final face off with Ben Kenobi. So there was enough research put into when in the timeline this could be that it's all worked out very well too. But as I say, I love Maul in the Clone Wars. I think they brought him back lovely, and I'm glad that they brought him back in this. I just wish they bloody done something with it because they've set it up like they were going to, and
yeah,
maybe if Solo didn't fall the way it fell, maybe they
yeah,
would have done something with it. But hey ho.
yeah. Yeah, if they had made more money, I reckon that was going to be. If it wasn't the next standalone film, it was probably not far off a new film or series of films. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, and getting to see Kira again in live action films would have been really nice as well because
Agreed.
I loved her character. It was really really good, and yeah, I liked how that was going. So I suppose I should go to my number one pick.
Drum roll.
It is, and by all means, this was an easy one for me to have. It was the first thing on my list, and the thing that uh, there, stay top. And I'm going to say, as of 0800 station time, the Romulans have joined the war. This is from In the Pale Moonlight. This is Ben Cisco having a monologue within a series that is supposed to be a monologue. Him doing his log to try to explain what he's just done. Um, to sum up, basically, he's fed up, right with everybody else, with seeing the names of everybody who's passed away in the war. They want to get the upper hand. They need to get the Romulan. Cisco goes, I need to get the Romulans in. He basically goes down this well-intentioned path to try and get the Romulans in with the help of probably the most dodgy person in the Star Trek universe, Garak. And it managed to succeed with the plan of getting the Romulans in the war. And he can cope with it. He can live with it. Is the end of this part. If it's like Garak said, if it means the death of one criminal, uh, three Romulans, and the good intentions of one Starfleet officer to help the war, to save the war, then well, that's yeah. I'm paraphrasing here, but you're in a good place. So it's yeah. I wish I could just write off the monologue now, but it's the most beautiful of things and one of the best episodes in Star Trek. Um, and one that I completely is one of my favourites as well. And yeah, just loved to bits. And I think it's also what makes Star Trek Deep Space Nine Star Trek Deep Space Nine. It's fantastic in my opinion. Any thoughts?
Garak is awesome. Very, very powerful scene. And um, again, I don't mean to repeat what you've already said, but you're spot on. It's as Deep Space Nine as Deep Space Nine gets. You know, there's
Yeah,
not another Star Trek series that delivers its message and is brave enough to go with the message it was going with, actually, the way that Deep Space Nine did it in that episode.
yeah. And I think it actually ends with him going delete log, computer
Yeah.
delete that.
Yeah,
He
it's like,
just
oh
needed
shit,
to talk about it.
I can't actually log it. I've just got to
Yeah,
say it.
yeah, yeah. He had to get it out of his system. He couldn't talk to his dad, his son, even Dax, and definitely not to Garrick. Um, it's yeah. He had to talk to somebody, and that couldn't be stay on the record probably. So
Yeah,
anyway,
cool.
that's my number one moment, solo moment.
Lovely. My number one solo moment. There could only have been one from this movie, and it has to be the Kessel Run. Uh, yeah, I thought you'd giggle. Um, it was pure and simple fan service from start to finish. This moment, but it was fan service done right, kind of like Picard season 3. Yeah, fan service done right. Um, it was also a brilliant action sequence. It had the right tempo to it, brilliant music, great special effects. And on top of it being just pretty to watch and you understanding what it was you were watching, because you've heard this talked about in at least 3 classic, trilogy movies. It informs and develops Han Solo's character from being someone who is trying his luck and losing every single time to pivoting through the castle run. He had that to his name, but from that point on, he started to win at everything he was going after. And yeah, it really helps form his character, or at least the character that we meet in A New Hope. So yeah, and as I said, super pretty sequence as well.
Yeah, and it definitely adds to that Connie's or what most people thought was him trying to sound clever in a canteen or against somebody who knows better, saying, "Oh, I made this in so and so parsecs," and it was just like, yeah, that might work on most of your average bar goers, cantina goers, but not on Obi-Wan. But that was
Indeed.
not the yeah. But it actually makes it sound. It's also another way of going. This is the official run and the main speed we can get it in. But this is I am better than any other trader and I can get there quicker. So
Yep,
almost,
exactly that.
yeah, almost going through the country lanes to here in the UK to try to get to somewhere quicker rather than going the main A roads or motorways. So
Yeah, yeah. Very rarely that you can make that work, but there are a couple that you can.
yeah, definitely. So I'm glad you mentioned that. So I'll tell you what, the scores are the doors are pretty
Did
uh
Star Wars win
yeah
then? Did Star Wars win?
yeah yeah it did. Five, six, 8-2, 8-2.
Yeah, it
It's I think
deserved a win this time, to be fair. As it's lost the last few. We had to give it a little handicap this time.
definitely. You got any honourable mentions at all?
Um, yes, it's not quite a solo moment, but um, it almost is. It's a monologue from Picard in Star Trek Generations, right towards the end, where he's talking about time. He describes time.
Don't talk to me about time.
I haven't got the time. No, that was First Contact.
Damn it.
Um, unlucky. No, no. This one is. I wonder if I've still got this around actually.
Always having a look at
One
that. I'm going to
sec.
mention one of mine. So, um, the trench run by Luke on the Death Star. That was a great moment. You got Janeway talking about time. Time's up when she smashes into the Krenim ship in the Year of Hell, Part 2. That's a thing. And George Kirk sacrifices himself against the Romulans to save everybody else, and is a certain James T. Kirk in the process in Star Trek. So those are a couple of my honourable mentions. And where are we now with?
Yeah, I can't find my
Uh,
my reading from my granny's funeral the other week there. I've actually got it digital, but I'm not opening it on Word because there's a good chance it'll open up on the screen that the webcam's on, and everyone will lose our webcams and just get a Word document. But to paraphrase, it's the scene in Generations towards the end where Picard is reflecting on the events of the movie, basically, but how Soren had viewed time as a predator that stalked us all our lives. However, on reflection, Picard sees time as a companion who goes with us on the journey and helps us savor every moment because they'll never come again. And what you leave behind is nowhere near as important as how you've lived your life. It's a very, very poignant and powerful scene for me, and always has been. And as I say, technically not a solo moment because Riker was in the room with him, but it's a short and beautiful monologue. And you know, Picard and Patrick Stewart are great with monologues. But
yeah,
yeah, in fact, it was a
uh,
monologue solo.
yeah. like it says, talk for yourself. I plan on living forever.
Well played.
It's I don't have anything else to add to that, to be honest. So I should have left it with Riker's words. So
Beautiful words to leave it on
um,
those. Um,
definitely.
what? There you go.
Meh.
Yes, exactly. So you'll find all that gobbledygook in terms of where you can find us in the comment section below on YouTube. There will be some information, I'm pretty sure, on our respective podcast sites as well. So take a look down there. Please take the opportunity to like, subscribe, and especially leave some comments of your own. Let us know what your top 5 solo moments are, and we'll get involved in that conversation as well. Nothing else from me, Ben. Are we missing anything?
Nothing else from me. So yeah, my stuff is in there. I'm currently trying to get affiliate in on Twitch, so please come and follow at
You're so
TrekWars and
close.
Fantasy.
You are so close, mate.
So good. So hopefully by next episode I'll have it. So it's goodbye from me.
And it is live long and prosper from me.
May the force be with us always.